Yes, 10:01 Eastern Standard Time here in Kentucky. Excuse me, a little water burp. Now, I want to touch base on a few things. Now, previously I've talked about some things in my past, things I've done and everything else, which I will get back to that eventually, just not as of right now. I want to talk about the economy. And I know everybody on YouTube's been talking about inflation and this and that and blah blah blah. You know, I don't want to be one more notch under somebody's belt saying, well, I'm just going to delete and go on. No. My discussion is totally different. Now, about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I know at least a year ago, I had said that whenever the government sends out all these little stimulus package things, what people should do with some of their money is go out and buy at least an ounce of silver. And then on top of it, you know, when I said, you know, when the government's paying all these worthless ass people that sit at home $600 extra a month on top of everything we're getting, you should go out and buy some gold. And I guarantee, maybe one person out of everybody I've told on YouTube, off YouTube, on Facebook, off Facebook, probably one person out of everybody did exactly what I said. And you know, now it's like, you know, people are like, man, I wish I had done this, man, I wish I'd done that, blah 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 blah. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And, you know, you don't believe me? Look it up in the Bible, it'll tell you. Now, a long time ago, probably like 2002, 2001, somewhere around there. I know I've talked about this before, and you're going to hear it again. Probably about 1997, 98, I was talking to my grandfather. I'm a retro back a little bit. And my grandfather was really big into stocks and trades and bonds and economy and this and that. And he told me a long time ago, if you can afford it, buy some bullion. Stick it back. Sit underneath it. Forget about it. Just buy a piece here, buy a piece there. Keep putting it back. And eventually one day you're going to have enough. When this bubble comes around, you're going to be sitting high on the hog. And then I think in 2001, 2002, I was paying like $1.50 an ounce for silver. And I was buying, like, you know, 20 bucks a week. 20 bucks a week I was buying silver, 20 bucks a week, $1.50 an ounce. And I was accumulating a hoard of silver. I did buy some gold occasionally, but I mainly bought silver. Because for what I was paying for gold, which I think at the time was like $200 an ounce, ish. You know, for that one thing of gold, I could buy like multiples of silver. And so I mainly stuck with silver, which I should have bought some more gold, but I didn't. My own fault. But I told friends of mine, I'm like, hey man, you know, y'all need to come with me sometime, buy you some silver. I'm buying it from a person I've known for years. I trust him. He does me good. He doesn't lie to me. And they both basically told me I was batshit crazy, I was stupid, I was dumb, why would they want to waste their money on buying something that is dirt cheap and it's not going to change in price in the next 50 years and blah blah blah, and I was just stupid and everything else. And so they saved their money and they went out every weekend and spent it in alcohol and beer and whatever else they were doing at the bar, and which, you know, that's fine. You know, I tried to do my part. It's like the Bible thing of doing the witness and everything else. I was trying to do that, and they didn't want nothing of it. They didn't want to hear nothing of it, so I didn't force it upon nobody, and I just did my thing. Well, somewhere moving up the time chain, probably about 2010, 2011, one of my buddies that works for Kentucky State Police, that I tried and tried and tried to get his ass to focus, but he was more worried about beer and bars and chasing women and everything else. And one day he was like, I put a thing on Facebook. I said, hey man, look, I'm buying silver and I'm buying gold. And, you know, I'll buy a single piece or I'll buy a couple pieces, depending on what you have and, you know, how much money I have. And but he came over here and he had this gold necklace. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it's called. But he bought it from like Belk's or something like that some years ago when they were here in town. And so I took the necklace and I weighed it on my scale, and it was like 8 grams, if that. No, I don't think 8 grams was right. It might have been like somewhere between 5 and 8 grams. That's all I can remember. But anyway, I calculated up. I took up, and I told him, I said, this is what it weighs. So I went this other thing I have. It's a I don't want to say it's an app, but it's like an app on the computer. And I typed in what he had, you know, the gold content, which was 14 karat gold, how much it weighed, and it calculates how much gold is in there, how much other bullshit's in there, and it tells you what the actual price of the thing is worth. And I said, I'll give you 30 bucks for it. He about blew a fuse. Man, there's no way in hell I'm gonna sell for $30. I paid like $407 for it. And I was like, when? He was like, oh, back in the early 90s. And I was like, you massively overpaid for that then. Oh no, this was such and such and blah 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 like that. So I got on the computer. I typed up the price of gold in about the time frame he was looking. And I said, this is what spot price for an ounce of gold was, and this is like a few grams. And I'm like, there's no comparison whatsoever. I said, you got bent over, screwed, blued, and tattooed with a smile on your face, and you didn't even know it. And but then he refused to sell it to me, which I understand. No, it's his property. You know, he wants to do whatever. And he goes, I'll take it somewhere else, and I'll get more money for it. And I'm like, you can't take it to a pawn shop because they're going to look at you and laugh and give you even less than what I offered you at, you know, current price for it. And I don't know what he ever did with it. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. But then later on, like few weeks or so down the road from that, he was like, man, I wish to God I would have listened to you. I wish you would have tried to get me to buy that stuff. And I told him, I said, I did. And your exact words to me was, at Pizza Hut, at the table, your exact words to me was, I was batshit crazy and I was stupid. I said, you know, I tried. You know, you failed to comprehend what I was telling you. I said, so don't try to play the wishy-washy thing. If, you know, I should have, you know, made you understand more. Whatever. It ain't gonna work that way with me, Pedro. But anyway, my other buddy of mine that I tried to get him into it, he had a teeny bit of stuff, and but when prices kind of succeeded down, to me they were still high, but compared to what they were in that time frame, they were a much lower. So he did eventually accumulate a few pounds of silver through a through a market refinery kind of place, and they were like, do you want us to hold on to your stuff or do you want us to ship it to you? And he was like, ship the shit to me. So he goes, because if anything goes down, if you're holding it, I have no control over it. So they shipped him box upon box upon box upon box upon box upon box, and he stacked a shit way more than I did. But he also paid way more than I did for it too. But over time goes on and everything else, I acquired a smelter, and I was buying scrap jewelry, I was buying spoons, forks, you know, utensils of sterling silver, plate, goblet, and anything that was silver in sterling form, you know, I was buying. And basically, I have acquired I wouldn't say a huge amount, but a decent amount from buying scrap silver and broken jewelry pieces and everything else. Now, a problem with that is there is a lot of fake sterling silver in jewelry, and I found out the hard way. And so now I stay away from jewelry that's sterling silver unless it's from Mexico or Native American, or, you know, it's a very old vintage, which you can tell the vintage sterling silver from the modern sterling silver because of the texture of weight. Now, you take something that's 30, 40 years old sterling silver, and you take something that's brand new sterling silver, and you hold it both of them in your hand, you can feel a difference. I mean, right off the bat, because the vintage stuff has more of a weight to it than what this new modern stuff does. And not saying all the modern stuff is fake, but probably 50% of it is fake. And so I stay away from, you know, modern sterling silver jewelry. I won't buy it. Anything that's from like the 1960-ish and back, yeah, I won't buy all of it. I'll cherry pick certain pieces. I did buy a large lot of World War II service wings that you would wear on your shirts or your hats or your lapels, whatever. And I got them, I think, at a fairly cheap price. And now they also were a few other things, and I was gonna melt them down, but the more I looked at them, I was just like, you know, it's like history. You can't just erase it and be, you know, I mean, yeah, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of these other pieces like it floating around, but I looked up online a couple pieces of them, and I have one set of wings which is a bombardier squadron type silver wing piece, goes on your chest piece, and that alone is like $600 to $800 just for that one thing of wings. And I was like, yeah, there's no way. I mean, even with that being said, you know, even if it was like a modern thing, I still couldn't do it for that price, because, you know, once you melt it, yeah, it's still sterling, but it's not the original form of the sterling that was in. And you know, you'd be a fool to melt it. Now, by the time my kids are my age, it might be 20 cents. It might be $1. But as of right now, for the price of what they are, I just won't do it. You know, there's some things I just won't melt. I got a box in here on the table of things that I had purchased that originally I was going to smelt down in the smelter and pour them into bars. And the more I look at them, I'm like, I can't do it. You know, I just can't do it. So I have them in a box in here, and you know, It's like spoons or little child's cup, or something of that nature. A couple of silver shot glasses. I just can't do it. So I'm just like, I'll save them. If push comes to shove, I guess I could, barter a silver cup or something like that if I had to, versus melting it down and pouring it into a bar. But that's the thing, this is what I'm wanting to talk economic form of. Everybody right now can at least buy an ounce of silver or a few grams of silver. A little bit's better than nothing. That's all I'm going to say on that. Moving into the next category would be munitions and guns. I know guns is a very sensitive topic in the economy of the U.S. Evidently everybody owns a gun. The NRA, right-wing extremists, or some leftist crazy nut job that wants to run out in the woods and play Rambo. Who wouldn't? But it is what it is. But I've told people before, and I've said it, I'll say it again, over and over and over. The worse the economy goes, I don't care if a gun makes you shit your pants because it's some mean black looking item and it makes you scared. If the economy goes the way everybody's talking in the financial system and everything else, and economy wise and everything else wise, if it goes the way it's going, you're going to need something to protect your ass with. I don't care if you live in an apartment 13 floors off the ground, or if you live in the nicest neighborhood and with a walled gate and community wise and everything else, you're going to need something, because somebody somewhere is going to be like, well, I'm hungry, I need something, and I'm going to go door to door to find out who's home, who's not. And if it means I'm going to kick your door in to get what I need, there you go. And say somebody kicks your door in and you're one of these people that, oh, the gun scares me. What are you going to do? Sit back and let them beat the crap out of you, possibly kill you over, a box of Cheerios? I hate to say, I would shoot somebody over a box of Cheerios, but, if you kick in my door, I hate to tell you, chances are you're not going to live to walk out freely. Or if you do kick in my door, as soon as you step 1 foot in, you're being blown halfway across my front porch. So it's just the way it is. Protect and serve. There's a joke a long time ago. People in Appalachia, they didn't call 911 because, well, for one, 911 didn't exist. It's called mountain law. You take care of it yourself, and whatever the outcome is, it is what it is. So, but I do know that, when you're in cities and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to say, well, it's mountain law. No, because, well, it doesn't pertain to everywhere, Even though up here it might sound great, but, it is what it is. But everybody needs something to defend themselves. I'm not suggesting go out and buy you a gun if you never handled one before in your life. Now, well, let me take it back. I would suggest you go out and get one even though you never had one. But I also would say find one of your crazy redneck neighbors or friends to say, hey, I just got this. I need to know how to use it. Can you instruct me and show me the proper way of using this? And, so that way when the time arises or comes, if I have to use it, I know what to do. That is the proper way to use it. Or you can go out and spend, say, $80 to $200 on a carry conceal class and they'll teach you the same thing and give you this little piece of paper that says you can carry this gun concealed and blah 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 blah. And so that way, on top of it, whenever the government says, well, we're going to do gun confiscations, we're going to come out and everybody has a CCDW license, we're going to go to your house first and confiscate everything besides what you have. So that's the drawback in my eyes of a CCDW, which Kentucky, their policy states if you can legally buy it, you can legally own it, and it's an open carry state anyway. So, you know, why do you need to worry about a concealed deadly weapon when you can open carry in any place in Kentucky except for banks, hospitals, and maybe a couple bars or something like that, or unless it's posted a sign out front of the window that says no weapons allowed. But even then, you know, get you an inside holster, put your weapon aside there, put your jacket on. Now, well, you're still in violation of the law, but, you know, unless they got a metal detector wand, they ain't gonna know what the hell you have. You know, it is what it is. But Kentucky, that's just what I love about Kentucky. Kentucky legally states if you can legally buy it, whether it be a pistol or a tank or a howitzer or a rocket-propelled missile system, if you can legally buy it, you can legally own it. No questions asked. And that's how it is. And that's why I would never leave Kentucky. Now, I would say I would never leave, but it would have to have a really good pro bono for me to leave Kentucky. Now, one way I would leave Kentucky, and this goes back to history, is the only state in the Union that can legally succeed from the Union is Texas. Because before Texas rejoined the Union, in their contract clause that the state of Texas wrote out, they had submitted somewhere in the paperwork, which somebody didn't read, they just signed it. Okay, you're coming back to the Union, great, so be it, blah, here it is. And they signed it, it's been declared, nobody read the piece of paper, it's locked up in the history books in the constitutional part of Congress, and it states Texas is the only state that any given time they choose can leave the Union and form their own little personal country, and there's nothing they can do about it. That is the only place I would move to if Texas ever did succeed from the Union to start whatever thing they wanted to do. That is the only place I'd go. Call me crazy, call me a left wing, call me a right wing, I don't care. I am who I am. And I have a very strong Southern allegiance, and most of my family fought for the Confederacy in the Civil War, and I hold that true and proud, and you know, it is what it is. So y'all can call me a racist, y'all can call me a bigot, I don't care. Don't care a bit. Not at all. But anyway, it is what it is. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about, I know some of y'all, well, I only got 60-something followers. It's not too much of people. Unless you share my video, then it's a different story. But I know some of y'all do not know how to can. And now, canning and putting stuff in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer or a food saver bag, it's a whole different ball game. I took home economics in school from junior high to high school. My grandmother taught me how to cook and can. Other people and of the family over the years when I was growing up taught me how to cook and can. It's right here. You know, some things I've had to look up online to make sure I'm doing it right type thing. But for the most part, you know, I can anything that I grow in my yard. I can dehydrate it. I can, you know, pressure can it. You know, it's pointless. Not really pointless. It's pointless of everything. I mean, you're probably using it wrong. regardless, there's nothing I can't grow or buy that I can, pressure can, or dehydrate and preserve it for X amount of months to a year or so down the road. If you don't have a dehydrator, I suggest getting one PDQ. And if you've never canned anything, vegetable-wise, things of that nature, and I know it's going to sound crazy, contact your YMCA if you have one, or something like that. Get a hold of the old ladies in church that you go to, if you go to church. If you don't go to church, I don't know what to tell you. But if you go to church, I know there's old ladies in that church somewhere that if you walked up and said, hey, you know, I've never done canning, I would like to know if you can teach me something. I'm going to say right now, old people love younger generations of people asking them for things, because most old people are shunned because everybody that's young, I don't have time for you. I got to do this. I'm worried about fashion. I'm worried about, you know, my popularity. I got to go out party around and, you know, act like a dumbass on the weekends. And a lot of the old people raise their kids. They just kind of blow them off because, well, you know, I see them maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, and they're lonely. They got nobody to talk to. And if they can share their wealth with you, knowledge-wise, not money, a lot of them would drop it in a heartbeat just to, you know, have somebody, you know, be around to talk with, explain things. You know, trust me, that right there will save your ass more than anything. Well, I would say more than anything. Pretty much close to more than anything. You know, like I said, go to the church, hit up all your old ladies, and say, hey, which one of y'all are really good at canning? Which one of y'all are really good at baking? Which one of y'all are really good at stretching the penny? Because now a lot of them, well, a good majority of them that lived during the Depression are dead and gone now. But there are still some that are floating around. And there's also the children of the ones that are floating around that still do it, and they can teach you everything that you need to know, and possibly could keep your ass alive in a really bad, hardcore, shit hit the fan situation. Dehydrators, I love dehydrators. You can take, you know, I've taken tons and tons and tons of canned food, dehydrated it down, because all it does, it leaves all the minerals and enrichments in the vegetable form. It just pulls all the water out, and then you put it in a jar, put it in a bag, put your oxygen absorbers in there, seal it up real good and tight, store it up someplace where bugs and especially mice can't get into it, and you know, you'll have tons of food on hand. Of course, you don't have to put some water to it to rehydrate it, but you know, it'll save your ass in a pinch too. I love seeing these people are like, well, I got these big old freezers and upright freezers, and we've been going to the store buying this meat and, you know, freezing all this meat in the freezers and everything. Well, let's just say, here's a real good example. Let's just say between now, being November, and sometime between now and say March, let's just say we have a really bad winter and power goes out. Now, unless it's really cold in your area, you could take the meat out and store it on your porch or something like that, or your banisters, in coolers outside to keep some of the animals from tearing into it, and that'll give you at least a few hours to a couple of days. But let's say the power's out when it's really, really cold, and then it starts to warm up. What are you going to do then? You're screwed, because now you're going to have all this meat sitting there, and unless you can cook it really damn quick and find a way to preserve it really damn quick, you just spent all this time and money on stuff to store in the freezer that's going to be gone to shit. And what are you going to do then? Nothing. So find you some old ladies. And here's another thing you can do too. If you find a certain old lady, say, have you ever canned meat? Yeah, it looks kind of funky, it looks kind of nasty, canning meat. But if you can preserve it shelf-wise to last you, say, 1 to 3 years on the shelf, you know, 1 to 3 years on the shelf is better than 1 to 3 months in the freezer. If the freezer goes out, then you're just screwed. Or using it to make jerky. And I'll tell you right now, I mean, you get sick of eating beef jerky all the time, or fish jerky, or, you know, whatever type of jerky you make. You know, you get sick of eating it day in, day out, all the time. But, you know, if it keeps your ass alive, it don't matter how nasty it tastes after a while. As long as your feet hit the floor and your stomach's not going rah, 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 and your belt's going because you're so damn hungry, you know, yeah, it's better to be prepared and ready than be like, well, you know, the economy's not too bad, I'll pay a little more for this, and we're just putting our thumbs up our ass and be like, eh, ha ha, happy-go-lucky, la 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 la. Yeah. I tell people all the time on Facebook, I'm the ant, I'm not the grasshopper. And some people laugh about it and post little comical little glyphs on things on there, stuff like that. But there's a family, I won't mention their names, and I know they watch me on here ever so often, but they live, you know, right down the road, probably 5, maybe 8 minutes away from me, in town. And his old lady sat there and she was like, is there anything you can't do? And I said, well, yeah, there's a lot of things I can't do, but there's a lot of things I can do. And of course she made the comment, she was like, well, whenever the economy goes to shit and everything collapses and everything else, she goes, I think I'm going to come over here to your house. And I kind of joked with her. I said, that's fine. And I said, bad thing it is, you know, I might not be here. And she kind of looked like the deer in headlights kind of look. And I said, if it gets too bad, so we got a farm 2 counties over. Farmhouse is 100, almost 200 years old. It's in kind of bad shape. I said, but it's still livable. Has 15-foot ceilings, fireplaces in it in each room. Has a pitcher pump well, wood stove heat, and a single light bulb in the kitchen. And I said, you know, it was my great-grandmother's house. I was like, you know, if it gets too bad, that's where you're going to find my ass. That's because the house sits almost in the middle of 200 acres. And, you know, there's animals there. There's wild animals there. There's creeks there. There's natural water flowing. There's a pond there. There's fish in it. There's bullfrogs in it. You know, that's, to me, that's like my ace in the hole. You know, and I say this all the time, because I hate this word. I despise this word. The word bug out. I cannot stand that word because I've heard it so many times with a passing year. Well, I got me a bug out bag. I'm a bug out and I'm gonna go to the woods. Yeah, and you and 15,000 other jackasses gonna do the same thing. And when you get there, what are you gonna do? Probably get your ass kicked, shot, stabbed, buried, and somebody else is going to have all your shit that you spent all this money on because you think you're going to be a badass survivalist and run to the woods because the woods are going to save you. It's not. So, but my thing is, I'm not going to bug out. I'm just going to relocate from my house to the family farm and live like the 1800s. And it won't bother me a bit. Because I live like the Amish. As of right now, in the house I'm in right now, I live like the Amish. Yes, I have lights on. Yes, I have internet. Yes, I have a computer. Yes, I have my camera recording me. And my camera's going to be recorded in here in a few onto YouTube. And, you know, that's not like the Amish. But I live with a form of Amish lifestyle. I won't get into it all the way because that's a whole different video. It's a whole different ball game, a whole different concept of everything else. I have a lot of Mennonite friends, and I have a lot of things in common with them as well. Not so much as the Amish. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, if I had me a buggy and a horse and a yellow triangle, or orange triangle on the back of that buggy, you better bet your sweet ass, screw an electric car, screw gas prices, I'd get me my horse and buggy and I'd be happy-go-lucky, clappity, 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 going down the roadway. You know, and you take me forever to get where I'm going, but I would much rather ride in a buggy with a horse pulling it, or a donkey, than I would, you know, be sitting there in my car at the gas station going clink, 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 going like, damn, there goes that week's worth of groceries to put in my gas tank. You know, that's how I am. That's just my thought process. I would love to have me an Amish horse and buggy. As of right now, I belong to a group on Facebook. It's a windmill page. I'm trying to find me a windmill, and I found a couple of people. We're kind of talking back and forth. I can't afford one as of yet, but I will have me a windmill eventually. I'm not going to use it for pumping water or stuff like that. I want it to alternate with a alternator on top of it for like a solar farm or a wind energy farm, and that way, you know, I can use it for powering charging batteries up. The way I can use the batteries for miscellaneous small things around the house, or whenever I get my porch built in the back here. I can use it for a couple of devices or something of that nature. Now the reason why I say that is because there's a lady that I'm really good friends with. Her name's Linda. She lives on the other side of the county. The lady next, close to her, next door-ish, I guess you would say, has 3 solar panels, or 2 solar panels, and those 2 solar panels, or 3 solar panels, power everything in her kitchen, from the dishwasher to the stove to the refrigerator. And they power all that just off those panels, and that's it. And she said that right there saves her a ton just in electric off those 3 panels, and that's it. And that is one of the things I'm wanting to get more into. I don't care about green energy. I mean, green energy, if you can do it and it'll work for you, and you don't got to spend a shit ton of money to alter your bills or what you use in the house electric wise, you know, more power to you. I got oil lamps around the house. I use them daily in the wintertime for light, or for the extra little amount of heat that they put off. And you know, why not? You know, it is what it is. You know, like, that's why I say I live like the Amish in some ways. We're Mennonite, and I enjoy it. Now, if I had me a Yoder hat, oh, trust me, I'd love it. I want a Yoder hat so bad, it's not even funny. But the ones that are around here are crazy ass priced, and I can pretty much go buy a Stetson almost for the price of a Yoder hat. Now they got some knockoff Yoder hats, but you can tell they're knockoff, and that's why I don't have a knockoff Yoder hat. If you don't know what a Yoder hat is, it's an Amish kind of style hat, or Mennonite-ish kind of hat. More Amish than a Mennonite. But I'm gonna shut up. It's already 10:40, and I know this video is gonna be every bit 35-40 minutes. So I'm gonna shut up. I'll make a note to the next video or so, talk about some personal things that I've done in my lifetime and stuff like that, because Dan's old lady really enjoys listening to my crazy, there's a word I was wanting to use, but I can't think of it or use it in the way I want to use it, annex. My crazy annex of growing up in Redneckville, Kentucky, aka E-Town, aka Elizabethtown. Now, here's another thing. I hate Louisville. Despise Louisville. Louisville's the city above us, up the roadway. It's about 40 minutes up the road. I don't go there, not even to see family. I don't go there for family functions because it's Louisville. And it's spelled as Louisville. So when you go to Louisville, now listen to what I say. When you go to Louisville, how it's pronounced, and you say Louisville or Louisville or Louisville, they're just gonna look at you and be like, "You're out of towner. You don't belong here." And they might not say it to your face, but you better bet your sweet ass that yeah, they're definitely gonna use you as a topic of communication, jollies, funnies, jokes, and yeah. So before you go there, be sure you practice saying Louisville, because it's not Louisville. And that's like everybody that's from Elizabethtown. Now, some people will say Elizabethtown, blah 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 like that, but everybody that's been here for the past 30 plus years or more, they just call it E-Town. And that's what it is, E-Town. And that movie that Orlando Bloom filmed here, Elizabethtown, that movie sucked ass so bad, because I think it had like maybe what, a minute to 5 minutes of actual Elizabethtown in the movie. Most of it was filmed in Louisville, Lexington, and other parts of the state versus E-Town. And but yeah, there's a lot of people in town, "Oh, I love that movie because he made it, blah blah blah." Like, that movie sucked ass so bad, it's like watching a porn backwards with no music on. It sucked. But it is what it is. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see y'all again soon. And I hopefully some of y'all will buy some silver. If you can afford gold, buy gold. Take classes on how to can, preserve, get a dehydrator, dehydrate as much as you can, because everybody keeps talking about how bad it's going to be here soon, the next 4+ months. So instead of sitting around with your thumb in your ass, do something productive now. Get a jump start on something. You should have done this months ago, but I know some of y'all, you got them blinders on like horses, and it's too hard to see reality for the writing on the wall. Thank y'all. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all again soon. Hopefully.